everybody. This is lecture for topic 10, Corporate Governance Framework in Malaysia. Okay, firstly, what is corporate governance? Corporate governance, the simple definition for corporate governance is the way or method a company is managed or governed. So, corporate governance in Malaysia is influenced by several regulations or promulgations. I think the most important promulgation that influence the corporate governance in Malaysia is the Companies Act 2016. Companies Act 2016 is the law. So every company in Malaysia has to follow this law. So it has the biggest influence in the way companies in Malaysia is governed or is managed. Before the Companies Act 2016, the previous one is the Companies Act 1965. The Companies Act 1965 has been used for a very long time, 40 years or 50 years. So and then the Companies Act 2016 replaced the old law. Okay, so see the point number 2 in this slide. Companies Act 2016 contain drastic changes or reforms compared to the 1965 version. I think the most shocking to me, I think the new thing to me is this one. The minimum number of members for Malaysian companies, according to Section 9B, stipulates that a company shall have one or more members. This provision allows the incorporation of a company with only one member. So if I'm not mistaken, in the Companies Act 1965, in Malaysia, if you want to start a company, you have to have at least 2 persons. That's why it is called a company, I think. But this is very shocking to me. According to the Companies Act 1965, now if you want to start a company, you can start one with only one member. One person can form a company. I think this is very this is very strange to me too. But this is the new law in Malaysia. You can start a company even if you even if the company is owned by one person only. Okay, let's see. And then according to the Companies Act 1965, the types of companies that we have in Malaysia can be divided into 2 categories. See here, companies can generally be classified as limited and unlimited liability companies, and also number 2, public and private companies. See here, point number 1 related to the type of companies. There is no limit placed on the liability of a member of an unlimited company. And then Section 25(1) Companies Act 2016 provides that the name of an unlimited company shall end with the word sendirian or abbreviation SDN. I think before this, in Companies Act 1965, we have only 2 types of companies. We have limited public limited company and private limited company. But now we have unlimited liability companies also. Okay, so this is also new to me. I never see this unlimited liability company yet out there. Maybe there are already many of this kind of companies. But this is the thing that happen now. It is allowed by law to form an unlimited liability company. So under, see here the first point, under the Companies Act 2016, the process of incorporating a company is simplified. So this I heard this also. Now in Malaysia, it is very easy to start a company, to form a company. Government do many things to simplify the process to start or form a new company. I think Malaysia is one of the top country that allow or makes the process of starting a company very easily and quickly. And then see here, under Companies Act 1965, every company was required to have a memorandum and article of association. This I remember many years ago. So, if you want to start a company, you have to have the memorandum of association and article of association. The documents are known as the constitution of the company. But in Company Acts 2016, in section 31 and 38, it says there that only a company limited by guarantee shall have a constitution. Other types of company may or may not have constitution. It is optional for them. So now, I think many years ago, if you want to start a company, the process is a bit complex. You have to have the memorandum of association ready, the article of association ready. Now the Companies Act 2016 allows you to start a company without the constitution, without the memorandum and article of association. If I'm not mistaken, if you start a company and you do not prepare the memorandum and article of association, you can form the company, and then you just have to follow everything mentioned or stated in the Companies Act 2016. You just follow. Don't have to create a memorandum and or a constitution for your company, except the company limited by guarantee. That's the only company that is required by Companies Act 2016 to have the constitution of the company, of the association. And then see here, this is another big change also. Another big change. Share capital with effect from 31st of January 2017, all companies with share capital migrated to no par value regime. It is immaterial that the company was incorporated under Companies Act 1965 or any previous enactment. Section 74, Companies Act 2016. So starting from after the release of the Companies Act 2016, now Malaysian companies does not have par value to their shares anymore. The shares are recorded in the balance sheet according to the market price of the share. No more par value like $1 per share par value or something like that. Directors, okay, here minimum number of directors according to the section 1961 provides that a private company shall have a minimum of one director who ordinarily resides in Malaysia by having a principal place of residence in Malaysia, which is called resident director. Minimum. one director only. For a public company, it shall have a minimum of 2 resident director. Okay, so imagine a private company is required to have only minimum one director only, minimum one local director. Okay, and then this is company account. According to the Companies Act 2016, see point number 1, section 259 requires a company to lodge its financial statements and reports with the Registrar of Company or something, ROC. For a private company, it must be done within 30 days from the day the accounts are circulated to the members. The accounts must be circulated to members within 6 months from the end of its financial year. Private company must be done 30 days. The account must be circulated to the members within 6 months. Oh, this is confusing a bit. Must be done, private company must be done 30 days. I think for public companies, the account must be circulated to the members within 6 months from the end of its financial year. For private company, within 30 days. For public companies, must be circulated within 6 months. In the case of a public company, the account must be launched with the ROC within 30 days from its annual general meeting. However, Section 68 requires the company to launch its annual return. Annual return with the ROC every calendar year within 30 days of the anniversary of its incorporation date. Annual return and annual report. Annual return and the financial statement. I think the accounts is the financial statement. Okay, that's it. That's the first promulgation that has the biggest influence, that becomes the corporate governance framework in Malaysia, the Companies Act 2016. The second promulgation that also has very huge effect on the corporate governance of Malaysian companies is the regulation of Bursa Malaysia. This is because big companies in Malaysia are listed in Bursa Malaysia, and when they are listed in Bursa Malaysia, they have to follow the Bursa Malaysia rules and regulations. So that's why regulations of Bursa Malaysia is one of the item or promulgation that becomes the framework of the corporate governance that we have in Malaysia. Okay, see here. First point, Bursa Malaysia is the regulator of the Malaysian capital market. So everybody, if they want to, every company, if they want to be listed in Bursa Malaysia, they have to follow the regulation and rules required by the Bursa Malaysia. So listing requirements and rules probably has the greatest influence on the corporate governance in Malaysia. So see here, Bursa Malaysia has I think the biggest, the most important one is the main market of Bursa Malaysia. Big companies, they will aim to be listed in main market. See here. So primary listing of local and foreign companies, they have to satisfy several qualitative criteria, quantitative criteria, and then also there are additional criteria for foreign companies. And then secondary listing of foreign companies, they have specific qualitative criteria, and listing of special purpose acquisition companies also there are criteria. Okay, listing requirements. I share with you several listing requirements. The quantitative admission criteria to be if a company wants to be listed in main market of the Bursa Malaysia, then this is the quantitative admission criteria set by the Bursa. So first point here, you can see in this slide, profit test. Uninterrupted profit of 3 to 5 full financial year with aggregate after-tax profit of at least 20 million. After-tax profit of at least 6 million for the most recent financial year. Have been operating in the same core business over at least the profit track record prior to the submission. And then market capitalization test, a total market capitalization of at least 500 millions upon listing, and incorporated and generated operating revenue for at least one full financial year prior to submission. Infrastructure project corporation test. If the company is related to infrastructure project, then the company has to pass this test, must have the right to build and operate an infrastructure project in or outside Malaysia with project cost of not less than 500 million. And the concession or license for the infrastructure project has been awarded by a government or a state agency in or outside Malaysia with remaining concession or license period of at least 15 years from the date of submission. Okay, I think this is the most important part of the Bursa Malaysia listing rules, which is Chapter 15. Chapter 15 is specifically for corporate governance. For a company that wants to be listed in Bursa Malaysia, the company has to follow this Chapter 15 corporate governance listing rules by the Bursa Malaysia. See several points I will share several points here with you. This chapter sets out that requirements that must be complied with by a listed issuer and its directors with regard to corporate governance. Okay, I'll share with you the part B of the chapter, which is related to directors. 15.02 Composition and Board of Directors. Number 1, a listed issuer must ensure that at least 2 directors or 1/3 of the board of directors of a listed issuer, whichever is the higher, are independent directors. So remember this. So Malaysian board of directors, for companies listed in Bursa Malaysia, 1/3 of the board of director must be independent directors. Independent directors means the directors are not full-time employee of the company. If the number of directors of the listed issuer is not 3 or a multiple of 3, then the number nearest 1/3 or 1/3 must be used. In the event of any vacancy in the board of directors resulting in non-compliance with subparagraph 1 above, the listed issuer or the company must fill the vacancy within 3 months. I think there are more, but this is the most important one. This is the most important one, which is related to the composition of the directors. So a company is managed or governed by the board of directors. So this listing rule, chapter 15, is very important because it influences the way Malaysian companies form their board of directors, committees in the board of directors, relationship with the external auditors and internal auditors, and also other stakeholders. So these rules, it has a big influence on the corporate governance of Malaysia. I think there are more that I want to share with you, but I have only this in this slide. Okay, this is the end of this lecture for topic 10. I will share with you articles related to Malaysian corporate governance in Malaysia, corporate governance framework in Malaysia, and you will know more about this when you have to present the articles in the next lecture or in the next class. Thank you very much. Do not forget to write your name and matric number in the comment section of this video. I will record them as your lecture attendance.